Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 547 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and join me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing all right. I mean, I celebrated birthday this past week. I freaking had a lot of fun trying to get everything else like organized and in regards to other like family stuff this week. But other than that, though, I've been playing a couple different games, and some of which are probably going to surprise some people. But at the same point, I kind of wanted to share that I did initially do some shopping this week.
Uh-oh.
I did pick up a couple of different games, which I thought was kind of fun because I went to a pawn shop. I usually love doing my pawn shop trips and stuff because I never know what exactly is going to be there. And so I ended up picking up a couple different things. So I got New Super Mario Brothers, the DS version of this thing. That was
Okay.
about $20. I ended up picking up like a little Switch, like little case or something. That was like about $1. But there were some other things too. I ended up finding Mario Kart DS and
Wow.
Super Mario 64 DS. All those two games as well. The Mario Kart one was like about 11, and then I think there was like about 12 or something for the Mario 64 stuff.
Not bad price.
Yeah, I was actually rather shocked that I was able to find these Mario games all at once, but I was also happy because I hadn't had like a really good copy of Mario Kart DS for a long time since I've let my younger brother, who loves playing his Nintendo games and stuff like that, he's had that for quite a long while now. So I got with a couple copies, but I ended up picking up a couple Switch games that were available. One of them being the complete edition of The Witcher 3.
Huh.
And that was like 25 or something, so it was super cheap. It was fairly good. The new copies still generally sell for about 50. And I own Witcher 3 every like on other platforms too, but I really like the idea of just playing the game on the go. I don't have a Steam Deck. I don't have any other type of like various other devices, so it's like, might as well. But I also picked up Clubhouse games. The Clubhouse games on Switch. I've
I
been
like that game.
playing. I loved playing the demo so much that I initially tried it because I saw the copy of that at that same pawn shop weeks prior. I'm like, okay, well, let's download it, see what I can go forward and do. And I really liked the things that I ended up playing, the little mini games I ended up playing, like through the Connect Four, like I know there's another couple of games and stuff that you could try in that regards, but it was also there, and it was also close to about 20 something. So yeah, okay. So I ended up getting a bunch of good quality Nintendo games from my initial trip, which I'm happy. I was tempted to pick up the freaking PS5 camera that they had there, but I'm like, no, no, not yet.
Yeah.
Probably not right now.
I
But
got one back there that I've only ever used for that. It Takes Two. So
well, that's the thing, man. It's like that was the thing I was just questioning most. Like, when am I ever going to use this?
it's a nice camera.
It's a nice camera. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, it'd be nice if I did stream stuff a bunch more on the PS5, but at the same point, I really don't have a need for another camera.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, there were other stuff. There was other stuff at the pawn shop that looked pretty cool too. I mean, they did. They have. I kid you not, an Xbox One X, right? And they have the Project Scorpio edition of this Xbox One X. You know, I'm just thinking to myself, you got three different type of versions of Xbox. You got two Xbox One X's, and then you have an Xbox One S. Actually, this is the same place where I bought my Xbox One S. I've only played it like maybe a handful of times so far because work and everything else has been going on. But yeah, man, it's like it's been relatively like calm in terms of game availability and stuff. They had the usual, okay, you have some 360 stuff, you have a lot of Xbox One stuff, you have some of PS4 stuff, but not really like the things that I'm looking for. And it just happened to be this time they had a lot of good Nintendo stuff that I wanted to get.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that though, I've been doing pretty good, Tyler. How about yourself?
Doing all right, clanging and banging as always. Feeling pretty good, It's nice. I got to put shorts on finally this week. That's pretty nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
always a
Uh,
plus.
yeah. Now it's just rainy, cold, and windy again though. But fucking assholes. But no, I'm doing all right though. Other than that, just nothing crazy going on with me. Just kind of, I'm in that weird in between phase where, um, I'm like waiting for like games to come out, like
Yeah,
because there's just like you could just feel it coming. There's uh, what on Wednesday we got Horizon Burning Shore DLC coming out.
true.
Friday we have Advance Wars finally coming.
Yep,
Um, then the week after that, also I think on the 21st there's Dead Island 2,
true.
which I've been hearing some positive rumblings from the review embargoes on that. Gables, that we'll hear
Huh.
about that more later this week, but like fuck. Um, and then Star Wars on the 28th, Redfall on the 2nd, and then we got Zelda on the 12th.
Yeah.
Um, why everybody decided to put everything out in like a 3 week period, um, I don't know. Just because they hate us apparently, but
But what we can say is there's plenty of choice.
no, they're not.
Plenty of.
Gables, all of them must be played. There's no choice. I have to play all of them. They all look really well. They all look good. Uh,
You had to pause on that one. It's like,
yeah.
well, I'm thinking about Redfall here. No.
I wasn't even a shot at Redfall. Uh,
Just taking a
yeah.
guess.
But it's definitely in the looks good category. It's definitely in that tier. But yeah, I'm definitely like I'm excited to play all of them. But
Right.
yeah, it sucks because it's like fuck. Or yeah, I'm gonna like no. Then it's like nice thing is after that there's a long break until well fuck wait
June.
June. June looks bad. June's bad. It's just a bad time, Gables. Um,
Well, then again, you can look forward to potentially catching up because you have that May 12th all the way until like the first week of June, pretty much,
yeah, I
or
just got like
second
5
week.
big games to play, but in that period. So like I don't know. It's a rough time. It's a rough time. Um, I do have time off in June. I got a week off in the middle of June. Unfortunately, it's a week before Final Fantasy 16 comes out though, so
Yeah,
that sucks.
unfortunately, that sucks, but
Definitely like first world problems complaining going on here. Uh, but no, I'm other than I'm fine. I'm just like I just in that spot where it's like I want to play games, but I'm like I don't really want to invest in anything right now because it's like I'm not gonna play this thing on after Wednesday. It's like I'm not gonna be able to play this thing for God knows how long. So, um, yeah, just kind of I hate that part where you're just like you're waiting for that big thing to come, and it's just like
right.
you're just you're held hostage by the moment. But no, other than that, I'm doing fine. It's just life is life. Uh, all that. No, no real complaints other than waiting on video games. Rough life.
Mhm.
Um, but Gables, speaking of waiting
Yes.
on video games, we have just under a month until Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I like
Yes,
how
we are.
the video game world. Yeah, I made a phone call, Gables, to Nintendo and PlayStation. Me and Jimbo Ryan, we had a nice little talk. And I got him on speed dial, and I'm like, hey, Jimmy. First off, let's talk about the haircut. Second off, um, life's first games. Why so many? Third, my buddy Gable's birthday. We have a birthday coming up here, and he's really excited about one of your games. And he was like, "Oh, really? You're excited? He's excited about Sackboy 2? No. Knack 3? No. No. He named off like 12 other games. I'm like, no, he's not. Um, he's excited for Final Fantasy 16. Can we give him a nice long trailer? He's like, I think we could put something together. Call his buddies at Square Enix. Bada boom, bada beam. Got that for you. But then I had the hard one was Nintendo. Um, first off,
uh,
there's nobody at the Nintendo of America headquarters. Um, it's just you just got like you go to voicemail and it's just a law office. It just goes straight to a law office. They were busy trying to get this GameStop employee fired because he put a picture of a Zelda OLED online. Um, then they're trying to find the person through Discord that leaked the
which is
art
true, by
book.
the way.
These are not. I'm not even kidding. I really made this phone call. And I was trying. I finally got a hold of an assistant of one of the lawyers, and then I somehow ended up getting Reggie's number. Uh, and he's like, I don't know where the fuck Mother 3 is. And I'm like, I don't even care. I just need to talk to somebody about Zelda. And he's like, oh, okay. He actually sent me along, got hold of a guy in Japan, really nice guy. He's coming to visit next week. And but anyways, he knew a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy. Well, the one person in the world that's uncle actually works in Nintendo. You probably heard that story 50 times on the playground in elementary school. Um, but his uncle actually works in Nintendo. Got a hold of Ananuma, And boom, Gables, I got you a nice little 4-minute trailer. I hope you enjoyed it, because
Oh, yeah.
I sure the fuck did. Long story short, Gables, we got a Zelda trailer. I don't know where that came from, but my God,
Oh,
my God, Gables,
dude.
I'm gonna do a little share screen here for people. Give me a moment while I get that
Dude,
set up.
you just imagine my shock and surprise, like, going into this past week, right? Like, everything else going through, and then, like, you hear the announcement for the Sony State of Play with Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy 16. My bad. I'm having PTSD with 13 for some reason. 16. And on top of that, we knew about this, but we had not known about the fucking Zelda stuff until, like, about a day before.
Yeah, yeah,
And I realized both of them are on my birthday. Absolutely, freaking on my birthday. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
yeah.
But let's just say it was one of the best gifts that I could have possibly wanted. Two games I'm looking forward to the most for the rest of this year. All the subsequently had trailers and this and that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've watched this trailer quite a bit now. It's been out since Thursday, and I kid you not, between rewatching the original a couple different times and the reactions of a couple people, the reactions of other people, I think I've watched this close to about 30 to 40 times. I'm not joking. Yep, I can see it. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. This is definitely one of the most. This is definitely one of the most impressive game trailers I have seen in quite a long time. But I will tell you this: pound for pound, this is one of the best hype video game trailers I have personally ever seen. I mean, I'm not joking either. I mean, here's the thing: we go in knowing tit for tat, like, minuscule things like over the past 6 years of this game being in development, right? And then subsequently, this year is the year to where they've teased us with a couple different things. Like, we initially had the gameplay stuff a couple of weeks ago, right? At this point, and then they graced us with this final trailer, and it's all like it's near everything that we possibly wanted to know, but it's presented in such a way to where it's so epic, it's so grandiose, it's such a freaking crazy experience from beginning to end, because you're constantly guessing, like, what the hell is that? What's this?
Yeah.
What's that? Is a rocket right at the moment? It's like,
Yeah.
jumping
There was at
across.
one point he had a shield on his sword,
Yes.
and then he's on an Xbox Series X fighting a guy. Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's pretty much like a battle bots thing.
There's
All
like-
of a sudden, he creates his laser machine type of shit.
Yeah. I apologize for people. I accidentally muted my part when I was talking a couple minutes ago, and so I apologize for that. So you didn't hear me, but I was saying, I watched this trailer I don't know how many fucking times, and I went to put the show notes together, and I ended up just watching this over and over again. But yeah, like, Ganondorf is hot. Oh my god, the music.
I was just excited to see Ganondorf because he hadn't been inside of a freaking mainline Zelda game since, like, Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake, dude. Matt
Skyward-
Mercer is Ganondorf. That is hype enough for me.
He's in
dude.
Skyward Sword, wasn't he?
No, actually,
Demise.
I don't think so. He did play. Funny enough, he did play the role of Ganondorf once before, and that was for the YouTube series.
Well, no, I mean Ganondorf. He was in Skyward Sword, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Because he played, because Demise.
Huh. Well,
Link.
interesting.
Yeah, he's a final boss because that was like the original form of Ganondorf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, hey.
But my favorite part is it's coming. I just it's coming up here, right here. we gotta talk about the saxophone. Oh my god, it's so good. What? I just need this song out there so I can just listen to this on repeat
Dude,
until May 12th.
this music arrangement is absolutely perfect. It
Mm.
sets the tone of the adventure mood. It sets it to another level. I mean, we've we've watched game trailers before for advertisements for upcoming games. I mean, they were maybe maybe okay, this is a good music choice, or they put that music inside of
I
this
know
type of
why I
trailer.
am here.
This has
It's something only I can.
some of the best pacing in regards to a lot of the music stuff. I mean, because it starts out all like soft and everything else, but
Yeah.
this pound for pound, I feel outdoes the original Breath of the Wild reveal trailer. And that's big coming from like how grandiose that trailer was. Because when that game was initially announced, like Breath of the Wild, when the Switch was just in its infancy, it wasn't even out yet. But when that trailer dropped, everybody had like a oh holy shit moment
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, I'm getting to explore any and everything throughout here. It's like links inside this thing. It's so vague. I mean, what the hell am I supposed to do? And finally, when we got the game in our hands, we're like, oh, I could literally go from where I'm starting at all the way to the final boss with a stick if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But with this game,
That mountain
there
over there, you
is
can climb it.
even though even though we got this trailer, we still didn't see everything this game has to offer. There's still a lot of mysteries inside of this game that have yet to be told, but yet we don't really know about the solid like gameplay loop that it's going to be doing. All we know is we can explore certain terrains, there's certain abilities that we can go through and like use. We can create our own different types of stuff. We can freaking much glue like swords to or like shields to like swords and all this other crap. But
There's a gotcha machine in there. It's fucking. Like, this game has. Oh man, like ah.
but, but when it comes to like Tears of the Kingdom, there is a bunch of different things I noticed through rewatching this and that, and you see other characters, other champions, like other characters from the previous game, that are now the champions now, like Sidon and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Plus a couple of the other like guardians and stuff representing their tribe, like for the Rito tribe, and like I haven't seen the Goron champion yet that replaces Daruk,
Yeah.
but I think we actually got a teaser of that because inside one instance of the trailer, you see Link that looks like he's facing off against the Goron that's coming in full
Oh
speed.
yeah, when he does the spins and he like shoots like the flame. That's what it
Oh
looks like.
yeah,
They're in like it's underground. Do you
it
notice?
does. It
Which
looks
is
like Death Mountain, maybe.
yeah. So like people have been wondering before they even originally revealed Breath of the Wild, the sequel to Breath of the Wild. People were
Mhm.
like, oh, we're gonna go underground. Like people were talking about that, and it's happening. It looks like it's
Well,
happening.
it
They,
definitely looks like that.
dungeons pretty much look confirmed at this point.
But I will say this though, it's like there were other types of things that were kind of rumored and like try to propose because there's this one race of beings inside the Legend of Zelda universe that are supposed to be like kind of like a gateway or not like a gateway, but like there's like a race of beings inside like this Legend of Zelda like timeline that are supposed to represent sort of a gateway to like in regards to like cycles or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. So are those the dudes that we saw on like the gameplay reveal thing last month? They fight. You can see the one chopping down the tree with an axe at the beginning of the trailer.
Oh no, no, no. I'm not talking about the enemies. I'm talking
Oh.
about like what being that Zelda was communicating with inside of that trailer.
Oh. Okay.
You see a full on like there's at one point in the trailer to where you see a full face on view of a being that we've never seen before in the Legend of Zelda series. And it looks like a brand new type, like a brand new like race of like beings or something like that
Yeah.
because we've inside the Legend of Zelda series there's types of beings and stuff like that. Obviously you have the Hylians, you have like the Rito tribe and stuff, the Zora, the Deku, and like Gorons and stuff like that. There's but yeah, if you looked upon a lot of the hieroglyphs or something inside like the various previous trailers like Tears of the Kingdom and stuff, you see this one being that's like standing above like all the others, right? And it's not like Ganondorf or anything. No, it basically depicts this being, right? And there's like two beings that come together. You see one that looks surprisingly like Princess Zelda and someone else, and they're thinking that other being could be like,
Is it Hylia or whatever?
not Hylian, not like a Hylian, no.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I forget the name. I forget the name what they were calling this particular character and stuff, but it has to do in something in terms of ending the cycle of time or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Because the thing about it, and this is like a bunch of rumors and a bunch of things that I've personally was like investigating in regards to like watching some bit of YouTube videos, coming through some bits of lore and stuff. But there's a theory going out there that not like a theory, but like a speculation that this could potentially be like the end of like a current cycle
The
because
trilogy.
like a trilogy, not like
Well, because
trilogy or
Ananuma, the director, Justin actually I was talking to him about it, my best
yeah,
friend, and he's the biggest Zelda person I know, and he was talking about like his theory is it's the trilogy because Skyward Sword was the first game he directed, and that's the beginning of the Zelda timeline,
right,
and that's where you meet Demise that starts the cycle. Um,
right.
so spoilers for Skyward Sword from what I can remember beat the
Okay,
game
so it's
myself.
like Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, and then here Tears of the
This is the
Kingdom.
end where like they end the cycle.
This is definitely gets that feeling of it
Yeah.
because up until then there always would be reincarnations of Link, Zelda, and Ganon.
Three forces and three.
The three pieces of the Triforce.
Yeah.
Like courage, wisdom, and power.
Yeah, power wins. Are you gonna play the Splatfest? When's the Splatfest? Is that next week?
Possibly, I think it's next week or something like that.
Why
Yeah,
can't
I'm
they do
going to
this
see
goddamn
Courage.
week when there's nothing to play?
Well, hell, I haven't booted up Splatoon 3 in a while. I might as well just go forth and try to boot that up on
Gables,
Switch and
the
try to play the
Japanese are gonna
Splatfest.
kick our ass. You know that, right?
Well, the gamers in Japan really do have the good advantage of that too.
Oh my god, yeah, it's brutal. We gotta. Oh, it's May 5th to the 7th.
Okay, May 5th to the 7th, so it's going to be like another
a couple weeks.
2 or 3 weeks, so that's fine. But I cannot stress enough how amazing that trailer was, how awesome it's going to be to cycle through and experiment with crap. It's basically kind of gives me the impression of, oh, you can go forth and you construct all these random crazy crap. You can make like a battle bot simulated thing just to take on all those bokoblins and stuff. And
I'm gonna build a Series S, Xbox Series S. I'm gonna and go up again. Oh, I hope someone makes like a Wii U gamepad. This thing.
Dude, how much you wanna imagine someone's gonna take one of those like oh man, not like a stick or something like that, but take like a log or something and then like just try to make it like it's some sort
I'm
of
gonna make a
crazy-ass-
spear the length of the fucking world. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna combine everything together, and that's where we're gonna go.
Yeah, watch, someone's gonna make a working game inside of that damn game.
God, yeah. I mean I did a live react to it. If people want to check it out, I'll put a link in the video. And it was so good where I had to I stopped and I was just like for like 3 seconds I'm like I gotta watch it again. So I immediately just watched it again because it was like there was that one point where they just like cut to like at one point like you're in a wingsuit and then you go into a bubble water thing. And then like you're like shooting out of like there's like that big tornado thing in the sky, like cloud tornado thing in the sky.
Yeah.
And you shoot out of it and you're like the guy's like the boss is like coming out to get you. And like 6 different things all happen like back to back. I'm like, and I was like, my mind's like trying to register. Yeah, like that whole section went by, and I'm like, I'm still trying to register the first thing that happened. I gotta watch this again, and it blew me away. Like, I don't know if it's. I went back like you did. I rewatched the final Breath of the Wild trailer, and I don't know. So that Breath of the Wild trailer I've talked about is, to me, the greatest trailer of all time. And like a lot of people feel that way. That's not an original take. But I also think I don't know if it's better. It could be better, like pound for pound. But I look at that Breath of the Wild trailer, like that might be the most important trailer, maybe in the history of Nintendo, or at least in this century. Coming off the Wii U at an all-time low for Nintendo, and then we sat through that awful Nintendo Switch presentation where they showed us the HD rumble and a 1-2 switch and arms, and the Pro Controller is separate. Here's all this extra shit you got to buy that costs a bunch of money, and it was just a terrible. And then it was like, they talk about Splatoon, and like, but it was like the guy in the lab suit, like the whole thing was it was a terrible presentation, and I don't think anybody felt good about it. But we had that fucking that trailer, and that was the thing that sold us. Like, okay, well, I'm not sold on the Switch, but I'm sold on Breath of the Wild. And obviously, 6+ years later, we are where we are. So I gotta, I mean, I feel like that Breath of the Wild trailer. I don't want to sit there and say single-handedly saved the Switch. 'Cause I think the Switch over time, the Switch would still be the Switch, but I feel like it definitely kickstarted. Like, I think the hype for that thing, the hype for people getting the Switch, and the excitement for it, because like at the very least, we know we have Breath of the Wild at launch, and yeah, like I saw on that point, I still think the Breath of the Wild one is better because of that. But my God, the saxophone alone puts it at number 2 for greatest trailer of all. I'm putting it above God of War Ragnarok, that final trailer we got, and that's come from somebody that has Breath of the Wild as his 7th favorite game of 2017, and God of War Ragnarok is my favorite game of all time. That's coming from me, and I'm putting it third, because these two trailers, holy shit, like nobody is better at this than Nintendo. And I hope to God this game runs as well as it looks, Gables, because I don't know how they're gonna do it. I know Monolith is helping a lot, and Monolith is probably the best at making games run on the Switch.
Look at what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and how well that
Yeah.
game looked and ran.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you look at Tears of the Kingdom and they have Monolith Soft helping in regards to fine-tuning that stuff. That's going to be one of the best looking Switch games.
Yeah, they're probably the most important studio they have in Nintendo. Monolith
So
Soft.
what I will say, you are correct. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I go through and akin that as being the catalyst at the beginning of how popular and how successful the Nintendo Switch end up starting out, and also eventually to how it is currently. Tears of the Kingdom, I feel it is like a signification of like one of the last big hurrahs of the Nintendo Switch, personally, because this seems like an all-out blowout to the end of something fantastic, of something that unforeseeable, an anomaly that hardly anybody thought was going to be going on in this direct, like last, what was it, like 6-7 years or something like that.
Yeah,
we're looking at
6 years.
We're looking at a system here which nobody thought there not, I wouldn't say nobody thought, but I'd say that very few people thought that when Nintendo came off from the Wii U and onto the Nintendo Switch, they would have that big of an impact and like that much success.
Well, nobody thought what happened with the Switch would happen, but I think we were just hoping it would just be respectable. Like,
we were hoping that it would be. We were
not a
hoping
trash
that
fire.
at least it would give us enough to where we could play it for more than 3 years.
Yeah. In 2020, they weren't talking. They weren't talking about NX2. Yeah.
No, but yeah, man. Tears of the Kingdom. I kid you not, man. This is going to be a generational game when it releases.
Yeah.
I feel that that's going to be a game we're going to be talking about for the next 10, maybe 20 years from now.
Oh yeah, this will be
how important that game was.
This will be an all-timer. As long, I mean, yeah. I mean, my only concern about this game, like it's my biggest concern, really. To me, this is what sold me on this game more than like I'm like not saying like I pre-ordered this game months ago, so it's not like I need to be sold on it. But for me, like my hype was not there until this. Like I mean, I was excited to play it. I was looking forward to playing it, but. Yeah, like I shot, like the hype went through the roof. I went from like a 5 out of 10 hype to like I'm like a 15 out of 10 hype now. Like I just went from like oh May 12th, okay, I'll look forward to that day coming, to like I can't believe they're making me wait another month. Like that should be illegal. Like they shouldn't make us do that. Like we need to go invade Japan and get this goddamn game off the hard drive so we can play this fucking thing. What the fuck are we doing?
Well, Tyler, it's a lot better than what Nintendo used to do when they used to show trailers like for their games, and we would not see any remnants of them for like 4 or 5 years.
Well, they did reveal this game in 2019. This went quiet for 2 years on it.
But then again, they weren't expecting to delay it that many times.
True, COVID was they did not see coming. So, Um, yeah, but yeah, this game's gonna be phenomenal. But let's move to another game that should be phenomenal. That state of play we got for Final Fantasy 16.
Hmm.
I also did a live react to that. Um, this is a game like talk about like I wasn't like Tears of the Kingdom I wasn't like crazy hyped for. This is a game I was already super hyped for. Final Fantasy 16, and I just didn't need this. Like I sat through this whole thing, and it definitely felt like a thing. Like I get why they do it because it's like this isn't made for people really like for me. This is made for people that are on the fence or just don't know about it. Because
Right, right.
I get why they do this because like you're gonna get a lot more people are gonna write articles about it. So you're gonna get a lot more people. IGN, Forbes, um, Bloomberg. All these people are gonna all like the outside of gaming sphere websites are gonna write about the state of play. Like these are bigger news. Unfortunately, it just came out the same day after that Tears of the Kingdom trailer. But
The same day.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was rough. And to be fair, they announced this before Nintendo did.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I just for me like 25 minutes of this like rocking around the world. Like here's the shops and here's where you get side quests and here's a Moogle and um I did enjoy the dog Tovin, I think his name is. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. The game looks like phenomenal. Like I'm already like super pumped for this. It's just like it's like two really hot people dating and make a sex tape and release it. It's like, cool, here's this us fucking enjoy. And this is what this state of play was. It's like, here's this hot, sexy game that we make. Just look at it. Like that's what it was. You can't touch it, but you can watch, and that's what this was. It was porn. It was just video game porn. This game, I can't wait to play this in
Oh.
4K with HDR. This thing
This
is
is
going to be
definitely that
phenomenal.
type of experience to where you need a great display in order to demonstrate how truly fantastic this game
I
looks.
wish I had an OLED.
Fuck, dude, I kind of wish I had like anything that would go above like 60 hertz for
Oh
this
yeah.
fucking dude. But Final Fantasy 16 obviously looks absolutely incredible. I mean, all the set pieces, all the battle cinematics in regards to the main battles that you have between yourself and like other characters and stuff with their summons, like say for Ramun and like Titan and like friggin' Shiva and oh my gosh, Phoenix and stuff. You see the one clip and stuff. What you think is an initial cutscene, right? But no, it's basically you like in the middle of this thing, like running across one of the freaking summons,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going through this big old epic battle going through. And it almost makes me feel in some ways like the over top nature of say of like a Bayonetta game almost. But the gameplay looks solid, absolutely solid. This action game allows you to do a lot of experimentations. It allows you to go forth and equip and kind of like optimize your characters the way you want to play. Yeah, it sucks that you only control one character, really, the main character in and of itself, and you'll have like other characters that will just do auto battle stuff in and of itself. So it's and that's the thing though. This is going to be different of a Final Fantasy game than what previous entries were because this is more like a pure action RPG. Granted, there are going to be a lot of things you're going to do, like unlocking a lot of things on a like a skill grid or something like that. There's some aspects of it that are like from traditional Final Fantasy games,
Mm.
right? Like you have the skill grid stuff from past games and stuff. You have a character by the name of Sid that is something that's inside the
I don't
game. I
like them.
mean,
I don't trust them.
I understand. I understand that. I mean, I can understand what some fans' complaints are that it's not like akin to like other certain Final Fantasies in terms of like say turn-based this and that and stuff. But at the same time, I'm of the mind to where every Final Fantasy has its own set gimmick, has its own set pieces that they go through do. The first one was the first one. The second one didn't have any experience points whatsoever, and you had to deal with that. The third one introduced a job system. The fourth one introduced like a robust freaking like storyline on top of fantastic gameplay for its time. And then Final Fantasy V, that one had a more elaborated job list with all these different types of classes that are still used to this day in regards to modern Final Fantasy games. And then six was probably one of the most epic storylines and one of the longest tenured and one of the like the biggest cast of any Final Fantasy game. Then you have seven, introduced the materia system, but yet was an influential piece of not just for pop culture, but in terms of people getting into RPGs in general, because it was the first 3D Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Then, of course, so on and so forth, with 8, 9, 10, with their success, and then, like,
We could just
obviously you
skip
had
11 through 15. We don't have to talk about.
11 through 15, it's like, you could give or
Other
take,
than
like,
14.
well, yeah, 11 through 14 or whichever. But 11 was an online game, didn't have really too much experience with that. 12 was more akin to sort of similar like an MMO and stuff.
11
But
was the MMO.
well, that's the thing though. Like I said, 11 was an MMO, but the 12 one kind of was reminiscent of a MMO
Oh
on a
God, that
console
sounds
in and of
awful.
itself.
Okay.
I played some of 12. It's not bad. It's just different. Then you had like the whole thing with Final Fantasy 13 and their whole like freaking switching of their whole like Jobcast stuff, where it basically was a gigantic tutorial up until chapter 13.
30 at 5 hours in. Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah,
hey,
like
it was on 360 cables.
yeah, it was on 360. I actually own it on 360 too.
Yes, you're a psychopath.
but but what I'm stating is, it's like every single entry of the mainline Final Fantasy series has had their own gimmicks and they have their own type of gameplay here. For 16 looks fantastic to me. I didn't have to go in looking at more of the gameplay of it because I'm sold on what they're offering for this game.
Mm.
I mean, I want to go and explore the world as as my main character and stuff, control Ifrit and stuff like that to freaking smite freaking enemies and all this other shit. I want to know more about the story and the whole the intrigue and stuff and how things got into place. The set pieces are absolutely fantastic, but yeah, you know what? It was like one of those things where it was almost like a pick me up after the whole Zelda like Tears of the Kingdom
The come
trailer.
down. Yeah, you get that. You get that depression afterwards. Yeah. It's like,
Dude,
man, like I feel like Gables. We should start a new timeline.
and what's that?
We're in the BC AC era. We should have like ATOTK FT timeline.
You should have like a TK freaking F-16
Yeah.
timeline.
Okay. So ATOTK FT PS FF16 SOP timeline. So the after Tears of the Kingdom final trailer, uh,
Before
PlayStation
the
Final Fantasy 16
16.
State of Play trailer. So we are now in the ATOTK SP FF16 SOP timeline. So we created a new timeline. This is day 4.
Oh my gosh.
Better write that down before I forget that.
Fun stuff though. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Can't wait to play that game too.
Yeah, man. What a fantastic year of gaming, Gables.
Oh no shit.
Um,
It's not even halfway.
no. I mean, once we're gonna be playing Final Fantasy 16, and we're still not halfway through the year. That's gonna be wild. Hopefully, we live long enough for that day to come. But yeah, like I said, this was unnecessary. I'm super pumped for it. I have no negative thoughts on it. It looked great, looks fantastic, and I just wanted it in my hands at this point. I hit the. Oop, that was weird. Sorry, my computer made a weird noise that scared me.
Okay.
I held the shift key for too long. It was weird. Never done that before. But Gables, let's talk about some slightly less good news. It's just been an awesome week for trailers. But let's get we had an awesome Nintendo thing. We had an awesome PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a not so awesome Xbox thing.
Oh, before we get into that though, let me just tell you ever seen that meme image and stuff like that of Squidward looking out of his house and stuff and see
Yes.
SpongeBob and Patrick going through?
Yes, I already know where you're going with it. Yeah, okay.
Well, so for the listeners that probably don't know, it's like SpongeBob's Nintendo, Patrick's a PlayStation, and all of a sudden you have Squidward as Microsoft from the outside looking in.
As like
their happiness.
they're like running around the street all happy, and he's looking sad. It's like Jack, the movie with Robin Williams, where he ages 4 times faster.
Right.
Robin Williams is Xbox, and all the kids outside playing basketball are Nintendo and PlayStation fans. Yeah. So Redfall is coming out. They announced for Xbox, so PC it's not the case, but Xbox, if you are playing on Xbox Series X, it is 4K 30 frames per second. If you're playing on Series S, it's 1440p. Hey, as a Series S owner, that's cool because normally they're 1080 30 frames per second, which that's the sacrifice I made by buying an S. That's fine. So I get a 1440, but also only 30 frames per second. So there's only, only a quality mode, no performance mode at launch. And they announced this. We're just bad timing because they announced this literally like the same day that Nintendo and PlayStation announced the state of play and the new trailer coming out. So just kind of a rough timeline for them. But I don't know. There's been a lot of. I feel like I want to say for this thing overreaction. People talking about this game is doomed. This is awful. Like I feel like we're blowing this news. Like it's just over. Like we're going like way overboard with like the reaction to this. This is not the 30 frames per second thing. Like I'm not saying it's not important, but if like Gotham Knights was that, we rail on it because that game wasn't great. Plague Tale Requiem is only 30 frames per second.
Right.
Nobody talked about it. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be lucky to run at 30 frames per second, but we don't talk about it. We know best case scenario it's gonna be 30 frames per second, but we don't talk about it because we're willing to accept 30 frames per second because that game is gonna be awesome everywhere else. Obviously, if the game comes out and it's bad and it also runs poorly, we're gonna double down on the blame on the bitching, just like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. But inherently, 30 frames per second is not like a game. Like I know there's crazy fucking people that I need 60, whatever. Like I get that, like, but it's not gonna like I don't think this is gonna break the game for anybody. I really don't. What it is it's just one more fucking piece of ammunition for that goes against Xbox. It's just one more. It's just one more. We're just loading another fucking bullet in the chamber here, of just like more things to get on Xbox about. And I don't want to do it. I know there's people on the internet that love to do it. I've seen the PC Master Race going nuts about this. They're loving this. The PlayStation, Nintendo fanboys, they're loving this. They're having a great fucking time with this. As a gamer that has all the consoles and just wants to play the best versions of the best and just go where the games are at, this sucks because I actually am I was looking forward to Redfall. I just talked about 2 weeks ago after the previews came out where I've been really nervous about the game. Like, is it a games of service? Is it Left 4 Dead? Is it this? Is it that? Finally, the previews came out. I heard more about it. I'm like, I wasn't like crazy excited about it. I would say I was like, it was definitely of like I talked about like the 5 games that are coming out in the next like couple weeks that I want to play. It was definitely at the bottom of that, but it wasn't because like, I thought it looked bad. I just like these other games I'm more excited for. It's just one more thing to go against the Xbox. I'm saying Nintendo Xbox because from the jump with just this game alone, before we even get to the whole broader scope of Xbox, from the get go, we had the reveal trailer in E3 2021. We're like, oh, okay. Like they had that CGI trailer. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's gonna be like Left 4 Dead but vampires. And they're like, no, it's not. It's an open world game. Like, okay, well everything you just showed looks like a Left 4 Dead game. And then we finally saw gameplay last June, and it looked like a Left 4 Dead game. And then they reiterated, no, it's not. And then we've seen some more stuff here and there, and it's been kind of like, okay, I still don't know what this game is. Finally, we had the preview events. People were like mostly positive on them. There's some negative, but like I said, like I was going in thinking this game's like 8.5 out of 10. That's kind of like where my like highest tier would be. I'd say 8.5. But it's just been weird PR marketing from the jump. Then on top of that, you come out, like I said, you're coming out 4 days after Star Wars, 10 days before Zelda, which to be fair to Redfall, they had the date first. Xbox or Star Wars was delayed from March to April 28th. Then Nintendo announced Zelda later. But coming in that time frame. So when your reviews come out, that's when we will be getting our hands on Star Wars probably. I'm assuming the reviews are going to come out probably either the week right like a day or two before Star Wars comes out, or like the Monday, like the day before Redfall comes out. But then also at that same point, the hype will be building, and I imagine reviews will be coming out for Zelda shortly thereafter of Redfall. So in video games nowadays, unless you're like a game of the generation contender, like you're like an Elden Ring or anything like that, like if we talk about you for more than a week or two, like that's pretty big. You just got to own a time frame. That's your goal. You just like no one's gonna like like Elden Ring was like they because first half of the year we didn't have a lot, so it helped on top of that. But that game's obviously is one of the best games of all time. But they were able to just like they owned basically like most of the year last year. But typically for a game to come out, you have like a week or two of like this is your time where this is all we're talking about until the next hot thing comes out, and then we'll move on to that. And like this game is just like best case scenario, the game has that like a week or two, maybe a month of that. And you're not, I don't know when we're gonna, if you're gonna have that. You might have a day, you might have a lunch break. Like I don't know when you're gonna have it. You got like maybe a weekend because and then once that Zelda shit, once that full blown hype comes out, we're like it's coming. Like that train is here when Zelda comes. We don't care about you anymore. But also on top of that, when that game comes out, we're still gonna be playing Star Wars. So you won't even probably have that. I don't know. It's just it's bad timing. It's bad PR. You have this on top of it. There's obviously the Aaron Greenberg tweet everybody's retweeting where they said that 60 frames per second is the standard once the Xbox Series before the Xbox Series.
But it also doesn't help matters that when they introduced Redfall to begin with, it was running 60 frames per second.
At the preview event, it was only running at 30.
Yes, and that's the thing, though. Even at the preview events themselves, though, they had these freaking PCs that were there. They're like looked like they were from 2014, right?
Yeah.
And there's supposedly some like photographs like circulating about the actual towers from that preview event. But what was not kind of iterated though, it's like what there wasn't really a lot of like hard questions that I come to understand that weren't really being asked at that previous thing event though. But from what I understand from the initial things that have been coming out here, it's like I can understand gamers' complaints in regards to like a lot of the missteps here from the not only just with Arcane but like with Microsoft in general in regards to Redfall. At the same time, I feel like that we wouldn't be giving like a lot of gamers would not be giving a shit if this game was running at 30 frames per second, if not for two things. One, that Aaron Greenberg post on Twitter, how this whole aspect, the Series X is supposed to be one of the most powerful gaming consoles and this and that and stuff. Oh, we are aiming towards a standard for like 60 frames per second for our mainline releases. And, also the other thing is this comes in the same day as when we have that Tears of the Kingdom trailer and that Final Fantasy 16 showcase from Sony and stuff, and now the more emphasis pressure now is in Microsoft's court, and then them announcing this is going to be 30 frames per second, like 4K for like Series X and like what 1440p or something like that for
us.
Series S, which I'm happy about that. I accept that. I'm more of a performance guy than I am really of like a high fidelity guy.
I'm totally fine with 60 and 1080.
But at the same point, when this game, what gamers are really aiming and just trying to point the fact at is like when this game was initially revealed, like Redfall and stuff, it was running kind of like at a 60 frames thing, right?
Yeah, which I don't think that's a big deal because, I mean, you look at any game, you look at Cyberpunk when they showed that game looked fantastic, and then we know what Cyberpunk was. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, those trailers they showed, that game looked good. Didn't look like it has any issues there. Like obviously they're always going to show, they're not going to show us the warts of the game,
right?
So I don't feel like that's a major ordeal,
right? But even so, not just the Xbox port, but also the PC port has its initial faults as well. The PC port, for example, it still has de novo in that regards, which you don't know what's going to happen in regards to the whole frame rate state for the whole quality of stability inside of that.
Yeah.
Because even though it's an anti-piracy thing, de novo's been responsible for really gimping PC releases before. But it's just this overall mentality of hey, this PC port's gonna be more superior than this thing. Well, you don't know that yet. You don't know that. You don't know the day one thing that's going to be going through in factuality, in terms of how this is gonna go. But at the same time, you bring up a solid point. This is around the same time, around the same time frame that Redfall is releasing for Xbox and for PC respectively. There are a slew of other games that gamers are going to be thinking about and wanting and probably already be playing by the time this game releases. They may download it onto Game Pass either for PC or Xbox and maybe give it a try or something for like a weekend. But what makes this worse is like it comes at a time to where gamers' attention spans are not going to be thinking about Redfall or sustaining it for a long period of time.
Mm.
It's a gaming industry now to where your first impression is one of the biggest things you need to nail upon a launch,
Yeah.
or else you're going to completely flop.
Yeah.
I'm
Unless
not
you're
saying
it's possible. Like we always talk about the turnaround is possible,
yes.
but the problem is like the turn you could turn around, but will the gamers be willing to go back? Like Cyberpunk
Right.
was lucky because they had that fucking awesome anime that came out people loved,
Exactly. Cyberpunk was lucky.
and also it's the Witcher 3 people.
Oh yeah. No Man's Sky was lucky too. Destiny 2 for its specific things was also lucky in
Yeah.
some aspects. But people, like you've stated before, Tyler, people forget on how many games that launched in terrible states that end up flopping as a result. But people always count
Yeah.
the ones
We
that
look at the
do.
four that turn it around. We don't think about the thousand. We don't think about the anthems that
Right.
came out and came and went. We don't think about the million other yeah.
The
That's the
millions
thing.
of like the literal thousands of other live service games
Yeah,
that
it's
completely
it,
flop
the,
within less than a year.
it's like it's like you took my go-to analogy from me. Yeah, exactly. Like it's thing I was up. Like people always talk about like an NFL with the quarterback, where like the
Mhm.
quarterback's always been 6'2" or taller.
Right.
And everybody freaks out. Like, well, this guy's short. Well, it's like, well, Drew Brees was 6 foot and he did this. But I'm like, cool, but we don't think about all the other 6 foot under quarterbacks that failed. Everybody points out the one guy that did it. And
Right. Exactly the
yeah,
point. But what I'm trying to clarify and saying, I don't feel like I'm not saying that Redfall is going to fail for like right immediate out of the gate or
yeah,
anything like that. No, I don't think so at all. I think they're going to be people that are going to really enjoy playing this game because of how unique the gameplay is. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reminiscence and comparisons to Left 4 Dead, but there's also these kind of explorable elements and stuff that are definitely kind of interesting. But I do say the one thing they definitely need to change is the character progression in regards to when you're playing multiplayer. This is the
yeah,
same type of bullshit that kind of gimped our gameplay when we were trying to play Resident Evil 6 during Extra Life, to where if the member of the party, if you're with somebody or something, it's only the progression of the host that counts.
yeah.
It's not like, say, for example,
Well, your
yeah,
levels carry over. It's just the story progression doesn't count.
yeah, and that sucks because if you can't go forth and everybody get the same type of experience at the same time, like if you want to play with four people at launch, all four should be credited with that
Well, I
type of
mean, I
thing.
guess if like I agree, it sucks. But if I would like either just I would at least if I can only have one or the other, I'd rather have my experience points carry over than the story
Right,
carry over. So like at least you're getting that. But yeah, I agree. Like it's not great. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I totally forgot about that. Like there's the progression stuff and there's the always online stuff. It's just
right,
another like I said, we're just loading bullets into this chamber of just complaints.
right.
And
And quintessentially, they're just playing. It just feels like that. Microsoft's just playing Russian roulette with freaking Redfall because
yeah.
you're having so many types of different issues that are going to be at this thing at launch that are filling the chamber of this thing, from the initial progression stuff, from the whole 30 frames per second stuff, from the whole initial always online stuff, which, yes, they have one on record saying they're going to be attempting to go forth and fix that so
They're
it's no
looking
longer a
into it.
case. They're
Yeah.
looking into it. But at the same time and stuff, how much is it going to be for Microsoft to repeatedly kind of like revolve that darn chamber until finally something hits,
Yeah.
that it may
This was
just
supposed to be
take
the
you
one,
out?
Gables. This was it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like this is a bigger issue of and we've been talking about this for literally longer than this podcast has been going for, which is 10
Yes.
years in a Memorial Day weekend for us, by the way.
Right.
This has been an ongoing issue, Gables, for over a decade of
Hmm.
waiting for this, and it's been like there was definitely, but it's been 3 or 4 years of us talking about when those games come, and then we're like, okay, here's Forza 5 or Forza Horizon 5, here's Halo Infinite, here we go, this is it, and then Forza Horizon 5, the highest rated game of 2020,
Yep.
2021, sorry, um,
A fantastic
hit
game.
it,
Yes.
Halo Infinite, we enjoyed it at the time, but obviously it is what it is now. Um,
Yeah.
so
It had a,
Gables, I,
it had
I
a good campaign, but
yeah,
multiplayer couldn't
and
match
it
up.
was but it was obviously it wasn't done. But
Yep.
Gables, I went back and I looked, and I started looking at Xbox first party games, and I went on I got the Wikipedia here, and I started going through everything we've gotten from them, and it's pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of games in here that like they're third party stuff or like that whatever. But like I was going through here, Gables. Since let me find it. Where's my part here? Give me 1 second here. Sorry.
Let me
Since
guess.
Halo 3,
Yeah, since Halo 3, which is 2007.
September 25th, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start scrolling, so there might be some parts where I'm quiet in here, but I'm just trying to find shit. For first party games, not like games they had deals with where they had like exclusivity deals for a limited
Right.
amount of time or whatever. I'm still scrolling. We had Fable 2 in 2008, pretty good
Okay.
game. Gears of War 2 also in 2008. Those came out a
Okay.
week apart. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, I did.
Banjo Kazooie came out the week after that. So they had three big games in 2008 come out within
Nuts and bolts.
2 weeks of each other. Yeah. Okay. We had Halo Wars in 2009.
Mhm.
Still going. I'm all right. Still going here. Halo 3 ODST in 2009 as well.
Right.
There's
Fantastic
a bunch of Forza games in here. There's like 8 or 9 Forza games since that time. All right. Crackdown 2 in July 2010. Remember that game? Halo Reach 2010. Actually a good game.
Yes.
Fable 3, one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life. Came out in October 2010. I hated that fucking game.
I remember that being a huge disappointment when it launched.
Yeah, and then here's when I can see when the Kinect dropped because there's just like 60 Kinect games here going for a while. All right, now I'm in 2011. Just a bunch of Kinect games I'm seeing here, Gables. A lot more Kinect games. We had Gears 3, 2011. Yeah. So pretty decent run there. I'll give him some props for that one.
Decent run, yes.
Yeah, decent run. Like 4 or 5 big games. But all right, let's start scrolling from here, Gables. Start scrolling from here. All right, I'm in 2012.
Yep.
So we had Gears in October 2011.
Right.
All right, still scrolling.
Yep.
We had Fable: The Journey for Kinect, 2012. And I'm not gonna there's a bunch of there's probably 8 or 9 Forza games in here. I'm not gonna mention all this. Halo 4, 2012.
Okay.
That game very mixed.
It was.
But so there's something there though, and it's still going. Gables. Gears of War Judgment, March 2013.
Oh yes, the single story thing with Braid.
And that game was shit on a lot more than it needed to be, but it was still like an 8 out. The game was like a best 8 out of 10.
It was that awkward period between the console launches of the freaking PS4 and Xbox One. It was that in between period.
Yeah, we had State of Decay in November 2013, but I remember that game coming out and it was a buggy fucking disaster.
Yeah.
We have Rise: Son of Rome.
Oh yeah, that's the launch title for Xbox One.
Yep, and here's a shit ton of Kinect games for Xbox One.
Yep.
Still scrolling. So Gables, I'm now in 2014, so it's been 3 years.
Yep.
Since we had a major game from them come out. Still scrolling. I'm in 2015 now, Gables.
Yep.
Halo 5, October 2015.
Yeah, that's right.
Not great. Quantum Break, April 2016.
Okay, that's an underrated game from what I heard.
That game's actually it's a solid 7.5. It's a good game though. It's not get the props it deserves. But Gears 4, October 2016. So Gables, we found that's the first really great game. But I like that game a lot more than most people do.
Okay.
And since Gears 3 in 2011, Recore, Gables, Recore is in here. Remember Recore? That game was so disappointing.
Yes.
How good that game was. That was the one game I remember. The 1 year I didn't finish Extra Life because I fell asleep playing Recore.
Yep. Keiji Inafune game. That's I remember that.
State of Decay 2, 2018. So now we are 7 years in between Gears of War 3. Crackdown 3, February 2019. Gears 5, 2019. Gears Tactic, 2020.
Yep.
Battletoads, August 2020. And this is it until we get to Psychonauts 2 in August 2021. So basically, between a decade, going from Gears 3 to in 2011 to now, 2021, how many great non-Forza games have we had from them?
Maybe a handful at most.
Pentiment and Psychonauts 2 were the two universally love games, but they're very niche audience games.
They are.
Like Psychonauts 2, to be fair, was a Game Awards Game of the Year nominee. But it's been over a decade, Gables, and like you talk about, it's the thing we go back to. Phil Spencer quoted saying, "Every year, Nintendo and PlayStation are putting out Game of the Year contenders, and we're putting out CGI trailers."
Yep.
And that's the problem. That's the universal issue here. Is like, and I feel bad for Redfall because they are taking a lot more strays than they probably deserve
Yeah.
because they are now owned by Xbox.
Yeah,
Because you look at
that's
Bethesda for over a decade now, maybe about a decade, they have been one of the best studios out there. Like obviously Fallout 76 is on the record. Like you can't take that away. But if you look at everything they've done, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, which I know Obsidian made that, but they published it, whatever. Fallout 4. We have the Doom games. We have the Wolfenstein games. We have Dishonored games. We have Prey. We have Deathloop. We have Ghostwire Tokyo. Evil Within. Literally over a dozen games of like fantastic quality games that they have made in the last decade.
Yes.
And Redfall might be the one, like, I don't even want to call it a miss, but just kind of like the one, maybe we're looking at maybe a meh game here. And this game is being shit on like it's Forspoken. This game is probably going to be way better than Forspoken.
Well, here's the hope. Here's the hope that this is going to be better than Forspoken this year. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like kind of a long way to get around. I don't know. Like I said, the 30 frames per second thing is not the thing that's going to doom this game.
No, there are multiple other issues that could potentially doom this game.
And there's just, I feel like I feel kind of bad for Arcane Austin here, for the developers of this game, because there's just a lot more weight thrown on them because of the failure of Xbox and Microsoft of the last decade plus now.
Yeah.
Of just getting out quality games out. Because like PlayStation can have the Sackboys come out. What's the racing game that was like supposed to be they put out for free in 2021? The battle, the demolition one, Demolition All Stars, Destruction All Stars.
Destruction All Stars is what the game they put out there. Yeah,
they can have those games. They can have the misses. They can have the Sackboys, the 7 out of 10s. Nintendo can have the Yoshi Crafted Worlds. They can have those type of games where it's like the mid to bad games that we just don't even think about again.
Right.
Because they have decades of PlayStation. It's been 15 great years, really going back to Uncharted, of just like high quality game of the year contenders, greatest games of all time contenders, almost every year for 15 years. Nintendo has been killing it, even since really, I mean, we want mainstream 2017, in this era, in the last couple generations. But the Wii U was awesome still. But it's been a decade of like quality games from them too, where like they have enough big games coming out. They can have the stinker here and there. Xbox, people from them now are like, you've stunk this up so badly, you can't have meh games come out anymore. You can't have these niche games come out. Like Psychonauts 2, Pentiment is fine coming out when you have a ton of great games to surround it. But then like you finally put these big games out, Halo Infinite, and you delay it a year and it comes out and it's still not ready. Redfall was delayed. It was supposed to be a summer game last year.
Yes, and there's a reason why they let go of a lot of staff at 343 Studios after.
Yeah, but it's like Redfall it's got a year delay.
Yes. It had a year delay, and there's still issues that are popping up for it. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I don't want to sit there and blame. Like this sounds like obviously like it's them wanting this game to come out sooner than later, but it's like I feel like, I mean, we've been waiting this long at this point. If you gotta wait 2 more months to put this game out in like a reasonable state, at this point just put it out in July if you have to.
At this point, just delay it.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I don't think this is like the 30 frames per second thing is not the reason why you should delay it. Maybe like this just seems like it's one issue. Like if I don't know, I wasn't saying delay the game before, but if like you can't have this ready to go, like if this game comes out and it's just like, as long as it's not a buggy broken mess, and it's actually like a quality game, we'll get past it. We will. If the game's good, we'll get like this will be a footnote in the game. When we look back upon this game in 2 years. But if it comes out and it's just another mid game, it's gonna put more pressure on Starfield. It's gonna make more people pissed off at Xbox. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully they can turn around Gables, but it just sucks that we keep we keep doing this. But Gables, let's talk about some more. Let's go back to Nintendo. Let's get some more uplifting news in here.
Okay.
Let's talk about Nintendo Live in September. Coming from with Nintendo. So I was listening to Kit and Chris. Is that the names?
Kit and Krista.
Yeah. From the Nintendo Minute people, they left
Yes.
Nintendo and they do their own.
Yeah, their own show. Yes.
Yeah. So they were talking about this. They worked at Nintendo for over a decade together. And they're talking about like this is like a check your expectations sort of thing where like I guess they do these a couple times a year in Japan. And
Right.
they don't like they're not like big announcements, not like that. But it's like it's a family event thing where it's like come and just play a bunch of games that are already out.
Yep.
There's concerts going on. They play Nintendo music, buy some merchandise, stuff like that. So they're doing this in Seattle. We don't have a date yet. There's been some rumors that they might do it Labor Day weekend because PAX is there as well. It's the same weekend as
Right.
PAX, so they might do it around there so everybody's in town already. But I know they said check your expectations, Gables. What does Nintendo like to do in September?
They also like to do a whole bunch of surprises.
That's
Nintendo
right.
Directs.
Nintendo Directs. Gables.
What?
Should we keep our expectations in check?
Well, I understand the expectations in check is definitely something that we can do for this event.
Can we?
But like I was just about to say, what better way to let the general public try out a new product than by having a get together inside of that that time frame before subsequently releasing it towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
So,
Are you talking about a new console?
I'm you know what?
Yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy. Okay.
That's the thing, man. It could be a new console, but it also could be something different too. I mean, that's always the possibility. But
Virtual Boy
I
2.
will say that if there was an announcement of a new Nintendo console, if it's aimed towards that PAX weekend, everybody's going to be going over and trying to see what Nintendo's gotten for that.
You went like 12 steps further than I was willing to go. I was thinking like maybe they'll announce some new games and they could play them there for the first time. Kind of like they would do at the Best Buys. Like I remember like Justin and I getting to go play like play like Wii U games like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and like Super Smash Brothers and the fuck else did we play? I can't remember. We played a bunch. We went like a few times, and then we got to play games like they always did it like right around E3,
right?
And like that, you can go and play the games they announced at the Direct at Best Buys. I don't know. Go ahead.
Though I will say, and remember that there was a time like that Nintendo had a public event, right, where at the very same day they were saying, "Oh no, this 3DS or something like that was this whole like a new."
Yeah, the 3DS
like
wasn't real as they were doing.
It wasn't real, blah, blah, blah. And then it's the same day as people were actually playing the actual 3DS.
Gables, I'm just going to go on. You're crazy. Gables, you're Jason Zombie, and it's an O2, and you're about to strike out looking.
Well, here's the thing, man. It's like, I accept that this would be definitely a possibility if they chose to do it, but it also could be a good foray to where they could have people subsequently try out the new Mario game towards the end of the year as well.
Nope, Gables, you went too far. You went too far. Usually I'm the one that goes too far. You went too far. You also gotta think though, like they're gonna start selling tickets to this thing soon.
Yes.
So you want to do a direct. Normally you want to do the direct months in advance to say, hey, here's what you're gonna play at it. Because if you do this direct, say a week beforehand, you probably already sold out.
Blind?
What?
What if they do it blind without everyone knowing it?
All right, we're moving on, Gables. I can't do this anymore. We can't do this anymore. All right. Other news this week. Gables, you got to check your shit, buddy. I'm worried about you.
Oh, this could be probably one of the most fun time periods of the entire year. Or it could be just like what other people were expecting.
We're never going to
tempering the expectations.
We're never going to talk about this Nintendo Live again because nothing's going to happen. That's my my God. I don't know how we got here. I was like,
and if nothing happens, that's perfectly fine. You know, I would expect it to be like a run of the mill type of things, but at the same time, you can't help but have those possibilities that something like
yes,
that
you can, Gables.
potentially happen.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can easily
Yeah,
Do
watch this
that.
come September, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, they came out with this.
Holy shit, we could play Pikmin 4 that's been on shelves for 2 months. That's my prediction.
That's also possible too.
Other news this week, Gables. Persona 3 and Jet Set Radio remake gameplay leaks online.
Now you see, I saw that initial clip that was going around, and you know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of that one like kind of pitch, that whole rumor stuff that was going on months ago, to where Sega wanted to try their own hand at like having their own like specifically type of live service
The
style of
super
game,
games.
the super games and stuff like
That's what
that.
these
And
are,
there
yes.
and what was mentioned was possible game. There were a couple of franchises that were named. One of them being Jet Set Radio,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly like maybe something from like Atlas. I
Yeah.
think there
So
was something
Persona,
like that.
the Persona 3 remake has been pretty much like an open secret for a couple
Well,
of years now.
yes.
Apparently this is from like a behind the scenes like preview thing they were doing like in
Right.
2021.
Hmm.
That's why there's like early Sonic Frontiers gameplay in there as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's what that's from. But I don't know. I
I
mean,
see.
I'm pretty excited. I'm not excited. I'm not like gonna play these games. Like I'm not a Persona guy. I was never a Jet Set Radio guy. But I'm excited for people because there's a lot of people that are fans of those games, and I'm happy. It seems like these things are real. But it sounds like the Jet Set Radio thing might be a live service game.
That's what I was saying, man. It definitely did kind of look like it was going to be something along those lines, because from that brief clip, it kind of looked like it was scheduled for like a dance game or some shit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Next to Gills. Oh God, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just gonna get you all hyped up again. There
Okay.
have been some gigantic grain of salt, heart attack inducing amounts of salt.
Mm.
Been some rumblings about a Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remaster.
Yes, this is another chapter in the ever revolving door of here's what potential GameCube remasters are coming down the
So we
line.
just had the F-Zero one a couple weeks ago. Now this.
Well,
You'll be
how
playing this
many?
at Seattle Live.
Here's the, God, dude, don't get me started with that. But if there's one thing clear that we know about now over the past couple of weeks, is that there's definitely smoke coming out in regards to these potential remasters. We got the Metroid Prime remaster, and that was absolutely fantastic. But we're hearing rumors now of almost like all these different GameCube games, right? From Metroid Prime 2 and then Metroid Prime 3 potentially being remasters to like I understand Metroid Prime 3 is a Wii game, but at the same point, bear with me. F-Zero GX, Skies of Arcadia Legends, freaking Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. And you know what? Yeah, that would be awesome to have any of these games remastered and put out on the Switch. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door especially,
Mm-hmm.
because in many fans' eyes of that series, that was the pinnacle game of that series. I liked Thousand Year Door. I would love to replay Thousand Year Door on the Switch. I would love it if they ever brought Super Paper Mario to that as well. But I would be absolutely happy if that would happen. But the possibility of that happening is pretty slim, I will say. And I would need to manage my expectations for that. But
Mm.
what is clear, there's some form of smoke coming from these initial rumors. There has to be another GameCube remake that is going to be
Remaster.
announced or remade, announced, potentially coming by the end of this year, maybe.
Well, I mean, I mentioned this after the Metroid Prime remaster thing
Yes.
about I think game developers, especially Nintendo, is learning that the market is pretty much dried up on the remaster or like piecemealing us the old games and making us buy them over and over again.
Yep.
But the GameCube is kind of a fresh market for that because they definitely if they're
Absolutely.
um, I don't know how much Nintendo Japan sees because you hear a lot of stories about they don't even realize half the shit that goes on out there in the real world. But they probably hear a lot about like what people are willing to pay for a lot of these GameCube games, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what if we just made a better version of that and put it out at $40? Probably even they're like, well, we can put it out for $70, and people will buy it. Um, So
There's
that's an untapped market because we haven't see. There's a lot of. I mean, because like we talked about, there's not a lot of those games on the GameCube that are Nintendo first party, but there's enough where there's
they're
a market there.
substantial enough,
Yeah.
yes. And it's no secret you had games, even though like one of the remastered things released this year wasn't great in terms of the Tales and Symphonia remastered
Yeah,
stuff.
that's been like multiple remasters they've done that have been pretty bad.
Right, right.
So
But what I'm stating is like they're not dumb. It the whole reselling trend and like pre-owned stuff. GameCube is the most popular one to collect for right now, and it's because kids growing back from back then are adults now with money and they
mm.
want nostalgia from back then,
And
so
there's
they
only
want a GameCube and they
yeah.
want these GameCube games. I have had literally people ask me in real life at my workplace where I've sold like definitely like games and stuff. Okay, hey, did you ever get any GameCube games in? Or hey, do you ever get like any
Mm-hmm.
things like that? I've specifically been asked that too, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they're probably doing that because like 6 months ago, we got in a collection of GameCube games. I kid you not, like about 20 to 30 of them. The licensed games, the first party games, like some of the like the third party GameCube games that you would expect there to be, all of them priced, all of them sold within the span of like that. And they weren't cheap either. Pokemon Coliseum, that runs about 120 used or something like that, sold on eBay Marketplace. That game sold for about $80 through my workplace. But what I'm stating is the overall appeal of GameCube, like revisiting or in that market is fresh. You are correct. That market is fresh. That's one of the generations that have not been rehashed or redone in terms of reporting from older Nintendo systems. They're pretty much tapped right now with NES and Super Nintendo and
64.
64 and
Yeah.
like stuff like that. But GameCube is definitely the market that
Yeah.
you could go and pull more from.
And it helps that you only sold like 20 million GameCubes, so they're very rare games. It's not like the Wii where there's 150 million of those out there, and a
Yes,
lot of those games sold 20, 30 million copies. You know, you look at
exactly.
or like Switch is not going to be a crazy expensive. The games aren't going to be crazy expensive like they are like GameCube is now because it's one of the highest selling consoles of all time. So like there's not going to be that market like there is for these. So people aren't going to spend $200 on Tears of the Kingdom like people are spending $200 plus on Skies Arcade Legends. Um,
True.
so I feel like this like if they're not doing it, I think it's crazy because there's people out there that want these games, and if you can give them a better version of it for a third of the price, uh,
Yes.
and people will probably feel better about giving you the money instead of giving it to a Joe Schmo or anything like that. Like yeah, fucking do it. Um,
But yeah, to end this conversation in regards to the whole like remastering like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I mean, let's look at it this way. Look at how well Nintendo did with Metroid Prime Remastered. They pretty much stealth announced it and released it on the same day
well, it's not
at a
about well
cheaper form of
the
price.
physical copies they did not do a good job of making enough, but
Well, yes, I agree with you on that one. But to be perfectly honest, stuff. Can you imagine like if Nintendo did more of that towards the end of the year? They already have Bayonetta, not Bayonetta, but like Batten Kaitos and
mm.
Batten Kaitos Origins that are going to be
Oh, that's right.
releasing
Yeah, that's
for this year as well.
who made those games? Is that Capcom?
No, it wasn't Capcom. It was
The
actually
Bandai Namco?
Monolith Soft, I
Monolith Soft
think.
did that?
I
Oh,
think it was Monolith Soft, if I'm not
how do
mistaken.
I spell that? Batten.
Because that was the company that was responsible to making the Xenoblade games. I thought it was Monolith Soft. Or am I
I
wrong here?
misspelled it so badly that even Google was like, "What the fuck are you saying to me?" How do bat
Batten
B
Kaitos.
A N T O K?
Batten and then Kaitos.
Oh, there it is. Jesus, I've been drinking. Sorry. Um, Monolith. Oh, you're right. Monolith. Oh, that is Nintendo. Oh,
Absolutely.
Namco.
That's
Namco published it
Namco
in the United.
published it, yes,
Yes, but
but
Nintendo.
Monolith Soft
It
was
was
responsible.
You're right, because Monolith Soft wasn't owned by Nintendo yet. Okay,
Absolutely.
but looks like Namco owns the rights to it because
Right,
they published
right.
it. But yeah, you're right.
But
Yeah,
but between that and also just think of it this way. with Metroid Prime Remastered, being the $40 that it was released at, Baten Kaitos, that collection releasing at that price it's at. Can you imagine towards the end of this year to where we'll have possibly more remasters, like maybe a potential Paper Mario or a potential F-Zero GX or something being
Mm.
at that same price point at like $40 or
I think they'll
$50?
be at $60 at this point after Metroid Prime. They're like, we could probably sell 60 or 70. And this, I think, if we're definitely at the end of this generation, um, these are the type of games that typically you see from Nintendo put out towards the end of a generation. Like instead of they're going to hold the big guns for the next thing.
Absolutely.
You look at that 3DS at the end. We're just getting Wii U ports. So,
Yep.
yeah. So I feel like these are the perfect type of games that keep the software boost going, software sales going, and they don't have to put out big stuff.
Makes a hell of a lot of sense, Tyler.
Yep. Next up, though, Mortal Kombat 12 apparently will be revealed next week, and there's
Yeah,
some rumors that they might go to space. So
that's the thing, though, man. MK12, it was teasing in the investor call and stuff along the lines of
yeah,
the whole
with the
thing with
teaser was flat
Suicide
out
Squad.
said it's coming this year. So
Well, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Where,
yeah,
yes,
yes,
but it was the most, not the most ideal way the
no.
Nether Realms
Ed
wanted
Boon
that
was
game
not
to be
happy.
announced. Oh yeah, I'd be mad at that shit. But at the same time, man, it's like we there have been rumblings about MK12 potentially being teased
3
like this
years.
past week, and then
Yeah.
like hearing little bits of rumblings here and there. It's been mostly sort of like a firestorm of like speculation in regards since the announcer that the investor call person pretty much leaked that that game was going to be coming out by the end of the year.
Mm.
So it be announced next week, sure. I mean, it could be announced pretty much any time.
Yeah,
at this
and
point.
typically, when like that E3 time frame, now Summer Game Fest, um, a lot of we get this a lot, in that run up to this time period, and like in June, where games are announced here, and then we get the full blowout at E3.
Right.
So maybe we're looking at that again. We're like they're gonna like here's like a teaser trailer, maybe they have a date, and then see the gameplay at Summer Game Fest type of thing.
That's true. And if they really want to like tease and like try to build up hype for the game to release at the end of the year, this would be the ideal time to announce it.
Yeah, yeah. Announce it before it gets buried by other big stuff, and then like advertise. Hey, it's gonna be here later. Oh, he was walking away. All right. Next up though, gonna run through some of these here. I'll save that one for Gables when he gets back. Suicide Squad is getting delayed to February 2nd of 2024. No real surprise there. I mean, this was Jason Schreier reported that it was getting delayed like a month ago, and then Jeff Grubb said that it's probably gonna get delayed to 2024, and it was kind of getting weird where it's like a month now since that. Usually when they announce that, like a day or two later, it gets announced that it's getting delayed, and then here they are. They finally announced, I think Thursday, that it's getting delayed to February 2nd. Pretty crazy that they I'm shocked they gave a release date instead of just saying like early 2024, but we got a date for it there. It's like I think the furthest out game with a release date now. Like I think it's the first game to put a 2024 date on something. But yeah, I mean, no real surprise there. Like Jay Schreier did say this is to polish the game. This is not to fix. This is not to change. They're not getting rid of like the games of service stuff. Like maybe they'll take out the battle pass. Maybe they'll do some stuff like that. But the game is what it is now. You're gonna have the purple shit on the helicopters, and it's gonna have the live service stuff intact to it. Maybe they take out the always online stuff, but the game in the end of the day will be what it is. But I mean, I thought about this at the time when when the rumors first came out about the delay, that maybe they're looking at like, hey, like this game, I guess there's people wanting to delay this game beforehand, and when the state of play happened, they showed the gameplay, and they saw the outrage online. That was like the final ammunition they needed to like, hey, we need to delay this game. So maybe the game was gonna come out and it was not gonna come out in a good state. So maybe like delay it 8 months now from May 26th to February 2nd. Give it 8 months and maybe like, hey, instead of this game coming out broken and buggy or like just extremely buggy and there's no content, whatever, to like maybe we can delay it, comes out February 2nd. the game's actually gonna be in a good running state. Uh, maybe we fix some of the live service stuff, and then maybe there's like we actually have a good roadmap of shit coming, and we could stick to that roadmap because that's the big thing that like we see with a lot of these live service games that come out and like they're like fine, and like Marvel's Avengers, it was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. But then we just go months without anything to do in that game. So maybe like the very
Mm.
least, like, hey, this game will come out and it'll be fine. It's not gonna. It's gonna be a good running state. You'll have no issues about the way it runs. The game won't be a fantastic, but like at least there's like a nice sun like so people that like that do enjoy the game will stick around and play it because you're giving us good content to keep going back to. I'm talking about Suicide Squad getting delayed, Gables.
Right, right, right.
So I don't know. They said that the Jay Schreier did say it's only like I was saying it's only the polished game. But my argument is at least the game it gets delayed 8 months. Maybe the
Right.
game instead of coming out buggy and unfinished, it'll at least be finished, and they'll have a content roadmap that they'll be able to hit, and they'll have stuff coming out at a decent rate to keep people around.
Well, I wasn't surprised too much that this game did get delayed and stuff. Warner Brothers does not want that game to be a complete flop, so that's part of
Yeah.
the reason why they're delaying it. And why
DC's
they're
taken enough hits in the last decade, so
That's true, but it's also a good fair point and stuff of why they're trying to push the potential MK12 to be released this year.
Yeah. And then it helps that Hogwarts Legacy is like super successful, so they're probably like, well, that was way better than we thought, so we can afford to delay this.
If you think of it that way, yes. I mean, the success of Hogwarts Legacy pretty much probably played in key to them making the easy decision of, oh, okay, let's delay Suicide Squad so that way we can get the junk.
Yeah, it helps when you have like a big hit success. Plus, you had Lego last year, so it's like you have one success, then this, but you had Gotham Knights fail in there, then you had Hogwarts Legacy, and then like, well, if we, then and then also you probably want to get out of the way. You don't want to release it in later in the year because you're gonna have a lot of other shit to go against, and then also you don't want to go against yourself with MK12. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, I want to play. I want that game to be good. I really want. I don't have much faith in it, but yeah, I don't know. Like, definitely, all it could do is help. Next up, Gables, we have a Street Fighter 6 showcase on April 20th, hosted by Lil Wayne.
That was actually kind of surprising to see Lil Wayne just pop up. Like, yeah, we're gonna have this thing right here.
Happy 420.
420.
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, I'm kind of interested in seeing what this is going to pertain. I mean, we already know the full cast of characters. We already know the unveiling of like the whole next season of like Street Fighter is going to be dedicated to the introduction of Street Fighter 6 and the whole $1 million prize. So it's like I don't know what the hell to expect with this.
It's probably like the state of play we just got from like Final Fantasy 16, where it's just like that one big final push for everybody else that's like on the fence or doesn't know about it type of thing as well.
That could potentially be that too, but there's also like a big surprise that's supposed to be announced during this event in of itself. So
maybe some DLC.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, that would be awesome. Maybe there's some new characters that we don't know about that are going to be first introduced instead of revealing of a DLC pass. I mean, it's up in the air really. But what I do understand is like there's going to be some interesting things to talk about when that event goes down.
Yeah. Last couple things here. Ubisoft Plus is officially on Xbox. The difference is here, so Ubisoft Plus is a part of PlayStation Extra tier, the middle tier, if you have that. But the big thing, the difference in this one is, so it's $18 a month. Has like the back catalog of basically all their games going like all from the last 2 generations on here. But the big thing on Xbox here is if you get that, you get all the Ubisoft games day one.
Right.
So I mean, if you're not like on its own, $18 a month for that doesn't sound great, but I don't know. When like Assassin's Creed Mirage comes out, will I be just getting this for a month to play Assassin's Creed Mirage? Fuck yeah.
That's kind of like what people are probably going to do because they don't want to spend the full price, and then it's like, you know what? Let's spend a price, let's spend it for the month and see if we just play Assassin's Creed Mirage, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like a big license game and it actually works, then that will obviously help it out. The Skullbone actually is good. That'll help. But last but not least here, Sega is apparently buying Rovio, the Angry Birds people. So.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
For $1 billion.
It just sounds like a terrible waste of money.
Well, I mean,
granted,
Angry
Yeah,
Birds is extremely successful. It's
true.
one of those things that's like super successful. We just don't know about. We just don't hear. But it's like it's just it's a phone game that we like. That's not our world. Um, so I don't know. And then like the merchandise is still super successful. They have the Angry Bird movies. So
Well,
I don't know.
there's no doubting that the franchise is very popular, but at that same point, it's like with Sega acquiring that, it's kind of questionable at some points and stuff. I understand they want to acquire the brand recognition, this and that, but that whole studio with Angry Birds thing has been like out of the loop in like sort of that pop culture sort of thing for a while now.
I don't know. I mean, there's people that still play Candy Crush, and that's still like. I mean, Activision bought the King a few years ago,
Hmm.
and I mean, Candy Crush is still extremely popular. I don't know. It's like I'm never gonna doubt this stuff again because I remember when Xbox bought Minecraft. I'm like, that's fucking
Yep,
stupid. Like, look at it now. It's just as big now as it was 10 years ago. So
sure.
I'm never gonna doubt it again because that's just a world I don't understand, and I'm just gonna assume you know what, it's probably worth the money. Uh,
Right.
so I don't know. That's just like I said. I don't understand it. That's not my element. Um, but I don't know. But let's get what we've been playing, Gables. I have played nothing. Like I said,
Oh, you put okay.
I have just been waiting for these games to come out. The only thing I did play like a couple hours of Horizon Forbidden West
Okay.
because the DLC is coming out, and I don't want to do the thing I did
Yes.
with the first Horizon game when they had the Frozen Wilds come out, the DLC like 9 months later, and I jumped back in without playing the game for 9 months, and the first thing you do is you do a big boss fight, and I forgot how that game runs, how everything works. Like, what the fuck? What was my loadout here? What does this do? So I'm just playing it to like remind myself how this game runs. So that's all I've been doing. What about you, Gables?
All right. So, for some odd reason, I had a craving to play a Mortal Kombat game, so I decided to download and play Mortal Kombat 10.
You still playing that one?
Well, honestly, I finished up the main story stuff.
Nice.
I went to the tower stuff and everything else like that. So, well, yeah, I was still playing it and stuff, but after I got through the story stuff, I just, uninstalled the game because there's other types of games that I really still want to play. But let me tell you, I initially went through with the tower portion of like MK10 because I wanted to just go through the main sort of original like game thing that you could do for arcade mode and stuff. So climb the tower instead of classic Mortal Kombat games and stuff. You get to face a certain amount of opponents and then like the final boss in that regards. I decided to play the game mostly as Scorpion throughout the times that I did that because, well, honestly, Scorpion's one of the more recognizable characters and is actually probably one of the more fun characters I had with that game. But what's kind of hilarious though is I went through the tower mode a couple times. Like I went through I think 3 times, right? I want to try to ease myself in because I'm not too familiar with Mortal Kombat. This is technically the first Mortal Kombat game that I've played that I've actually want to beat.
Hmm.
So that is akin to itself. I'm not a major Mortal Kombat fan. I've never had been really. I've maybe dabbled with the games here and there over the years. Maybe a little bit of MK2, maybe a little bit of like the original MK on the Genesis way back when. But because of YouTubers and like also streamers, let's say like Maximilian Dude with his love for like various fighting games, it's had me wanting to try out some of these initial games. Like Tekken 7 was one game I did play through, Soul Calibur 6 was another. But Mortal Kombat 10 was kind of like an interesting one to me because it's been sort of like one of those games that had sparked my interest. But anyway, going into my initial gameplay, my experiences, I went through a couple different tower stuff just to play through with like some of the gimmick mode ones and like the whole tower stuff where it's just nothing but gimmick matches and you have either increased shields or low health or super powerful attack or anything like that. I thought that was kind of cool for like a gimmick, like a one-off type of thing. Went through the initial tower stuff like 3 times as Scorpion. Like I went through the lowest difficulty all the way to the normal because I wanted to see how the progression stuff with it, just to get myself familiar with the control style and stuff and the controls in general. They're not too complicated, thankfully. It's more akin to like say it's more akin to like to say like certain button presses. I mean, some of the gameplay kind of reminds me. There's some aspects that kind of remind me of Tekken in a way because of some of the button combinations that you could do. But oh yeah, I had some fun playing that. But I'll tell you what, the whole test your might stuff. Oh, let me tell you. When I did the test your might mode inside of this game, I initially could go forward and get to the first couple of ones, right? But when it got up to like towards the end of that mode and stuff and some of the higher difficulties of that one was kind of a struggle because you really had to mash these buttons in syncopation so much that you had to fit it inside like a small circle like on the thing. I'm proud to say though I did go through the entirety of that and I did finish that complete mode, so that one was pretty fun. It was the biggest pain in the ass that I probably don't want to get any more carpal tunnel from than I already do. But let me tell you something. That story mode was all right. I mean, it was like a campy sort of action film sort of thing, kind of like how you would expect from like Mortal Kombat. But it definitely is like it piggybacks off the realms of MK9. I didn't play the original MK9, even though I heard that's absolutely fantastic of a game. I mean, I recognize that, but I had a chance to experiment with a couple of different characters for the story mode, like say Johnny Cage, which I thought it was okay. Then it's like, I obviously knew a little bit more of like Scorpion from my times playing with Scorpion, which is so fun. You just go through, you just teleport here and there and stuff, just do a couple different combinations. He has this patented like moves. It's like his little like grapple hook and stuff like that. And then the fatalities are actually pretty cool too. Like some of the fatality stuff, like one of the ones Scorpion does to where he shoots his freaking grapple thing and takes out like the initial chest or something of the opponent and stuff. He has a beating heart, slices his face and all this other shit. I mean, granted, graphic, yes, but at the same time, it's a goofy kind of fun type of like shit just to go forth and try to do. There were a couple characters I really liked playing as, like that insect lady
Mm,
Devora.
yeah.
She was fun to play. Absolutely, she was fun to play. But honestly, she was responsible for some of the most grotesque fatalities in regards to that whole entirety of that story mode. I mean, the whole thing with against Baraka and also the whole thing against like Melina. Holy fuck! The thing with that cutscene with Melina and stuff and her execution in that regards through Devora. I was like, okay, where's this going to? Okay, and all of a sudden the ants appeared. Like, oh, like the ants are literally just devouring Melina's face and all this other crap. It's graphic, but at the same time, it really did fit a lot of the actual approach of like how MK is literally like, hey, any character can die at any time if they choose to. So it was kind of fun. Just gotta keep guessing. Okay, who's gonna go forth and do this? Who's gonna go forth and do that and stuff like that. But the fun I had fun playing as Devora. I had fun playing like as Jax. I had fun playing as like Jack's daughter and stuff like that. Cassie Cage kind of like was all right and stuff like that. I did love playing as Sonya Blade though. She was pretty fucking cool. She was pretty good. I loved going through and doing like kind of mixed like certain combos and stuff with her. Sub Zero was okay. I mean, I liked Sub Zero in terms of his form and stuff, but overall, for my first real Mortal Kombat game that I had a chance to play through and thoroughly enjoyed, I loved a lot of the experience of it. Coming in, I've only played through and beat a couple different NetherRealm games, and that was Injustice and Injustice 2 Gods Among Us.
Great games.
Yeah, both are excellent games.
Mm-hmm.
MK10, I can understand why people back then really loved this game too, because it's fast, it's got a lot of different types of variety of characters, there's a lot of fun you can go forth and have. But it also kind of like set me up to where it's like, you know what? If MK12 does get announced like through the next week and it's going to be released in the end of like this year and it's like a complete reboot of like the series itself, that's fine by me. Maybe it'll be kind of like how MK9 was for Mortal Kombat when that first launched. But other than that, though, other than Mortal Kombat 10, I did have a chance to play a little bit more. I did actually have a chance to play the pickup that I did with Clubhouse Games, just trying to play a little bit of that, kind of like it eased me into something like a little bit more calm after that initial
Mm-hmm.
one. So I played a little bit of Clubhouse Games, the different style of games, like the ones you would expect, Connect Four, Checkers. Like there was also a couple of ones I did not like too much because it was kind of bullshit. And that one of them was like Hexagon or something like that, to where you had to go the different paths from like you. control the one with the blue tiles and stuff to where you're supposed to go from like left to right while your opponent goes from like down to up or something. It's like kind of like a horizontal sort of style, right? You're supposed to block your opponent from doing different types like paths all the way to there. But it can actually get so freaking difficult because when you're trying to block the specific tiles of the opponent trying to go further, they can go somehow around it or they'll just trick you into going through this and that. It's I do admit though I'm not very good in regards to some of these games, but the ones that I am happy about, the ones I am kind of glad to go through and play in different settings, like Checkers, Connect Four. I mean, those ones I'm pretty happy about. But I will say it's an ideal game to play when you are in between games. I mean, absolutely. It's the type of games that I love to try to play. It's sort of like a pick me up before starting the next major game. I did have a chance to play a little. I actually did. Funny enough, I did actually play a little bit of New Super Mario Bros. U on the Switch as well because I was in a Mario mood. I don't know why. I was just in a Mario mood so far, so I went through the whole thing with Soda Jungle and all the other stuff with that. Just gradually taking my time. I played the game plenty when it first released on the Wii. Played some when it initially launched and stuff, but I continued back to it, so just continuing on to make sure I'm trying to complete certain aspects of it before moving on to the next world. I did also decide just to dabble with a little bit of experimentation with Mario 64 on the Switch Online stuff because it's funny how you can get like certain stars by doing certain movements. But because I've been watching some bit of speedrunners try to go through and do these particular tricks, it makes me want to try these particular tricks. Because the whole thing about right now with the Mario speedrunning community is the 16-star run. Someone actually got it to a point to where it's almost theoretically impossible to kind of surpass what the top person has gotten. But yeah, just fiddling around and stuff, and also since Maximilian Dude playing through Mario 64 for like the first
Oh,
time,
yeah.
I sent you one of the clips over this
Yeah, that was
past
very
week.
funny. Yeah.
It was him going through the that little snow world, right, with the little penguin and stuff. He had to get the penguin to its mother all the way down. Oh my god, it was so hysterical because he initially grabs the penguin, right? Or he initially goes through and just starts cancel kicking all the way up the hill in order to get the freaking little penguin. But him trying to go forth and try to figure out how to slide all the way down or trying to get to the thing without there being so much of an issue it was just borderline hysterical. The first time he tried it, it's like he tries slamming down the mountain. He couldn't stop fast enough, and all of a sudden he drops the baby and he drops off the cliff. But oh my gosh. But that moment just inspired me. Okay, how am I gonna go through and just play Mario 64 kind of like a different way? So I did the initial worlds like I am doing. I kind of now I'm doing certain stars out of the sequence, especially with the Boo Mansion sort of one. But played a little bit of that. But other than that, though, the biggest game that I did play was Mortal Kombat 10, and all the rest were just kind of like filler stuff in between me just conking out of sleep
Yeah.
during the friggin' week.
Good times. Sleep is good.
Yeah.
I like sleep.
So that's it for me.
All right. Well, guys, speaking of going to sleep, I think it's about time for us to go to sleep.
True.
Put this podcast to sleep. But I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I'm Colonel Gables. Until next time, number one, play some fun games. Play Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
I like to imagine my Link is like more casual. Like he wears like a tuxedo T-shirt, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm formal, but I like to have a good time too."
I also kind of like to think about my Link as being kind of like the wild person or something like that just throws like a board and then all of a sudden just goes surfing in the sky from it.
That's also good. That's good. I like that too. Bye, guys.
See ya.
What a weird way to end the podcast.
Oh, God.